Well, here we have an eBay purchase. This is an AWA AM-3 AM tuner that I purchased a couple of weeks ago, and we are going to open it up and see how it looks. So, I don't usually do these unboxing thingies. I did one in the garage the other day when I opened the box that I hadn't opened for about 8 years to see what computer equipment was in it. And still, so I thought I might do one on this occasion just to see what this thing was, and everybody likes videos of things being unboxed for some reason.
Because they're fun.
Because they're fun?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it is fun. It's like that vicarious indulgence in something that you didn't actually purchase. So the AM-3, it's an AM tuner, it's wideband, which means you get the full 10 kilohertz bandwidth of an AM broadcast signal. Most modern day AM tuners tend to be limited to, I think, 3 and 5 kilohertz bandwidth, so you basically get a sharp cutoff in frequencies around 5 kilohertz, and that totally kills your high-end response, which means that it's one of the reasons why AM radio sounds so bad is because your radio sounds so bad. And if you listen to AM on an old, say, Australian-made transistor radio, it actually sounds quite good. So I'll stop rambling. This is very nicely packaged. Thank you, Mr. eBay seller. So what do we have here? Just remove the carefully cut polystyrene blocks. We'll have to hoover those up in a second. Vacuum clean.
We have a Dyson.
Have to Dyson them up in a second. Just doesn't sound right. Anyway. Oh, that's very convenient. A little plug, and we'll get to that in a moment as well. Here is the AM-3. Oh, I'll just remove these things out of the way. It's like Christmas. I'm talking about the snow, not the presents. Now, here we have this out of the way. Our AM-3. Very carefully wrapped, as all things on eBay should. Now, it might not look like much, but this one's a bit of an interesting unit because this is not what a standard AM-3 looks like. A standard AM-3 has a sort of wood grain chassis, and with the rest of the electronics in the middle. It looks like a bit of consumer electronics, a bit of actual audio gear from that you'd imagine coming out of the 70s. This is different because this is at some point had a different fascia mounted to it for rack mounting, with the intention that it would perhaps be mounted in a transmitter hall or a studio for off-air monitoring of an AM broadcast signal, which is what these were used for in industry on occasion. As we can see, we've got the on-off switch, a nice heavy sort of thunk of a button. It's very pleasant. These big switches that are quite typical of 70s construction. A switch that enables us to switch between a narrow filter and a broad filter to widen or restrict our audio response. Distant, I imagine that might distant and local. I'm not sure, maybe that also applies to the filtering, or maybe it adds a signal boost or something, I'm not quite sure. So distant you'd use at night to receive all your DX stations, for instance. Let's take a look at the box inside. My camera person can focus in on that. You can see that it's been sold without its mains plug. That's because it's second-hand electronics, and removing the mains plug apparently reduces liability. I thought, wait a minute, it's only got 2 conductors, but it's actually got it is earthed, if you look in there. I don't know if it's actually earthed in the box, but we can assume it is. So here we have, if we look inside our, it's very simple electronically. I mean, you've got our, let's see, what do we have here? We've got our, this is the antenna input and ground. On here we've got our variable capacitor sort of ganged up, and that will, wait, is that a variable capacitor or not? Is it, actually I think that it uses, oh, I think that's actually permeability. So yeah, actually that is I think that's an inductor, not a variable capacitor. So it's inductively tuned, I guess. I don't know. Your light bulbs, feeble bulbs, to illuminate the dial here and here. The dial cord still intact. Very nice. But yeah, it's just a few transistors and a couple of capacitors and some coils. Very typical 70s construction. I think it's more in the design than the actual componentry. This, now if it weren't for the age of the thing, I would assume that this was like an aftermarket edition, this board here, but it's actually not. I think it's just a different type of PCB. Yeah, with an adjustment pot here. I don't know what it adjusts, maybe the level going out. You can take a look at the back of the thing. So we have our output here with a high output and a low output. These are actually not connected to anything inside. I don't know what they were originally for. Our antenna connection and our earth, all important earth. And you can see, where is it? Manufactured by Amalgamated Wireless Australasia in New Zealand. So this is built in Kiwi land. Consumes 5 watts, very energy efficient. But yeah, well, that's quite interesting. I hadn't noticed this, but it has a bit of silk screening here. Program fail alarm. So that really suggests that actually was used in a say a broadcast studio or a transmitter hall. Presumably there would have been a panel above this with a little light that came on if the program material suddenly dropped, or you had however many minutes of dead air or whatever. Over here we've got a little tuning indicator, which is nice. Yeah, so it's quite a high performance receiver, and it might actually make AM sound good. It's one of the more well regarded AM receivers out there, the AM-3. As far as wideband receivers go, so I'm looking forward to sort of getting this thing going again, and we might look at that if I do another video when that happens.